Nina, you just spoke to the ABIC group about food and civilization, so why don't you give me a little bit of an overview about what you talked about?
I addressed the relationship between food and civilizations, both historically and going into the future. So all of human civilization grew and developed because people invented agriculture. They figured out how to make surplus food. And in the last century, all of human civilization was completely transformed to a very modern, technologically sophisticated urban culture because we figured out how to use machines, how to use genetics, and how to make enough nitrogen fertilizer out of the nitrogen in the air. Those are the three huge innovations that allowed us to go from 1 billion people to 7 billion people. And then my talk was about what do we need to do to actually prepare for having 10 billion people. That's a lot more people. And more importantly, our technological sophistication is bringing more and more countries out of poverty. And as people come out of poverty, they want to add more meat to their diet. And more meat requires more grain and more land, but we're out of land. So what do we need to innovate? What in the whole system? Because agriculture is not just about land. It's not just about crop productivity. It's a complicated system of water, energy, nutrients, environment, including land, and people.
So what are some of those innovations that you included in your presentation today?
Well, I think that one of the innovations is how to grow more crops with less water. Now, part of that is moving high-value crops into greenhouses, because greenhouses can be 10 times more productive than open fields and use 1/10 as much water. Okay? But you're never going to grow your grain in a greenhouse. And today we use a lot of fertilizer and we pollute our waters with it. So in the area of fertilizer and grain production, we need to get much better at at delivering and using the fertilizer that we apply. We need to get more energy efficient. So right now, fertilizer production is very energy intensive. And we can't go back to a world, everybody would love to go organic. But organic is an old-fashioned and highly polluting form of agriculture. It produces a lot of methane because you need cattle to produce the manure that you use as a fertilizer, because the primary tenet of organic agriculture is a prohibition on the use of synthetic fertilizer. And to go directly to the point, if the whole world went organic today, we could feed maybe half of our population.
Because there's that huge production loss with organic, depending on the crop type.
Yeah, it's not just a production loss, it's sheer inefficiency. Mm-hmm. And so those are just a few of the innovations. We need to figure out a less energy intensive way of fixing atmospheric nitrogen. We need a lot of crop innovation through biotechnology. And then we come to people, because people are very much part of this system, and people have, for many complicated reasons, come to be very suspicious of genetically modified organisms. Going into the future, I think that it's pretty essential that we solve the problems of the cost of regulatory processes for GMOs and address the issues of public acceptance. We have not succeeded in communicating to the public what the science has learned, which is that it's not dangerous, and it's the opposite of what people have come to believe, which is that it's more beneficial. The crops we have now are better for the environment, better for people, et cetera, et cetera.